Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Two Asian Blokes Podcast, a podcast where we talk about Asian pop culture, films, TV shows, music, anime, comic books, video games, food, whatever we're feeling at the time, really. My name is Dan with H, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Thavy. Hi, Thavy.
Hey, Dan. We brought back another guest.
Oh, 2 guests in 2 weeks.
I know, right? That's crazy. I needed a bit of backup with this one. This is her specialty. We want to welcome back Nat Moo.
Hello, Nat Moo.
Hello, Dan. Hello, Thavy. Nice to be back.
Oh, thank you for joining us.
On the conception of this episode, I mean, I'm pretty sure people know what it is with the thumbnail, but I was like, I'm not going to watch this show by myself. So me, Nat, and Boone, we binged it together in one sitting, full of food, snacks, liquor.
Oh, was it enough liquor?
It was just enough liquor to get me
good.
through.
What are we talking about today, Thavy?
We're talking about Bling Empire Season 2.
Ooh.
The Netflix hit series featuring LA's richest Asian circle of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we did an episode previously where we mentioned this show, or season 1 of this show, I should say. I'll link it below. It was about Asian representation in Western TV media, shows like Crazy Rich Asians, but also good shows, I guess, and good movies. And Nat joined us for that episode. So yeah, it's nice to have you back, Nat.
Thank you. So whole episode dedicated to Bling Empire, hey?
Finally. I had to petition for this for ages. Thavy wasn't that keen on it, were you, Thavy?
Nah, not really.
Have those feelings changed at all?
They certainly have not. In fact, I think after watching season 2, my disdain for this show has grown tenfold. I mean, it's no mystery from the tone of my voice that I didn't enjoy season 2.
Or season 1, really, right?
Yeah, or season 1. Yeah, I guess we can probably talk about whether it's better or worse than season 1 a bit later.
Oh, just before we get into it, I'm just going to drop a spoiler warning in case people haven't watched it yet and would like to watch it without us spoiling it.
Is there anything to spoil in this show?
Thavy, there is so much to spoil in this season.
There's nothing to spoil in this show.
There's so many twists and turns, Thavy. But yeah, if you want to go into it fresh, it's on Netflix now. Yeah, go ahead and watch it before listening to this. Because at least 1/3 of this podcast is going to be probably ripping into it. But yeah, I actually don't know Natalie's opinion on this season yet, so I'm interested to find out. But so you guys watched it together with Boone as well.
Yeah.
How was the viewing experience, Nat, with Thavy and Boone?
One of the better Friday nights I've had in a while, sitting on the couch watching Bling Empire for, it felt like 6 hours.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about 6 hours, right? Yeah. 8 episodes, 30-ish minutes each. Yeah.
A Friday night is pretty rough for me, you know, a full day of work and then a second shift watching Bling Empire. So I tried to call it short, but Thavy, wanted us to keep going.
You were tapping out near the end, and I was about to go home, and I was like, we kind of just sat there. We kind of just let half of the second last episode run through, and then we were just like, fuck it.
We were in too deep. We were in too deep. And
what episode was this that you get up to? I
wanted to call it penultimate episode, so just before the second last episode, but
okay.
Thavy wouldn't let me.
So I was on my mind is like, yeah, maybe it's a good time to go. I think we're all pretty spent. I think Boone was like getting pretty delirious, but then I just sat down and like ate a dried mango, and then it just continued.
Powered through. You know what would have been good? You know how Netflix gives you those warnings? It's like, hello, are you still there?
Yeah.
That would have been very helpful at that time.
Do they still do that? Like,
yeah,
I haven't
we
seen
got
that in
the
a
warning.
while. Oh, you got the warning, okay.
Like halfway through, I think it was after episode 4, it's like, are you still watching Bling Empire? And I'm like, yeah.
Then the next screen is like, why are you still watching Bling Empire?
I mean, like, you wonder why Netflix is losing subscription and money. It's because they're spending their bucks on trash like this. So
I don't know. I mean, yeah, they're spending a lot of money in general. There's a lot of flaws in Netflix policies. I don't think Bling Empire is entirely to blame.
It's not, but it's definitely, in my opinion, it's a factor.
Yeah, you're probably right. It probably doesn't
Honestly,
help.
like, the best part of the viewing experience was quite literally the pho that we had for dinner before watching, and the snacks and just hanging out. That was probably the best part of the show.
Sure.
We made it an Asian-inspired evening, you know, going to the pho restaurant down the road and eating dried mangoes.
Just like they would in Bling Empire. Very on theme.
We just didn't have the bubble tea. That was the thing that was missing.
Weak.
You had like these really nice apples. Like you cut up some apples.
Oh, that
and
sounds good.
I was drinking like a soda highball that Boone made me, and I was eating like these like apples that Nat said were really good. I'm like, yeah, you know, I enjoy apple here and there. But I was like, damn, this was some damn good apples. We're not talking about the apples than the actual show itself.
Sounds like your like actual experience was classier than anything that went on in this season of Bling Empire.
What was your viewing experience? How did you watch the show?
I watched it with my partner, just lying in bed. We watched the first 4 episodes, or the first 3 episodes in one sitting. We just crushed the second half of it in one evening as well. Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty good time, nice and relaxing. I think we started watching it Saturday night, I think, and finished watching it Sunday. And I'm going to tell you, Thavy, the episodes just flew by. Just loving every minute of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's sarcasm or not, because
I'll get into
my opinion is obviously the total opposite.
But it's of the genre of trash TV, right? And Nat, like, we invited you into the previous episode that we featured Bling Empire because you are a bit of a trash TV aficionado, right? More so than Thavy and I, for sure. I think Bling Empire is pretty much the only one of this type of show that I've watched in earnest. In terms of your level of enjoyment of trash TV, where would you rate Bling Empire?
Good question. Bling Empire, it started out slow. It got better. It got a lot better in the second half. So
of this season?
Yes, season 2. So it wasn't too bad. It stacks up. It stacks up. Yes, it was a little bit slow at the start. That's probably my main constructive feedback for the producers for season 3.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed the first couple of episodes a bit more than the second half, but maybe that was like fatigue as well. Maybe
really?
show fatigue.
Me and Boone were so bored during the first 4 episodes. Like, I struggled to come up with anything or to think of anything interesting to say for this podcast because, like, the first 4 episodes dragged on for so long. Like, nothing was happening. I can't even tell you what happens. Like, I'm trying to think. It's just like people being rich, and that's it.
I think there was a bit of setup of some plots. Like, there were a few new cast members introduced. Mimi and her geriatric husband Don were introduced in the first couple of episodes. You know, those people.
The guy's like, shit.
Yeah, that guy. that
we
old
had a
shit.
contender for new favourite character with that one, with Don.
With that guy?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Interesting. So, what do you like about Don?
He's just funny. That's when he's like in the latter half of the season, I think it was the second, he's just... I don't know what he's doing. He's like trying to drink... He's just trying to drink juice and tastes like crap, and he's just like, shit. And it doesn't add up to anything in the show. It's just a humorous moment.
Sure.
But like there are a number of new cast members, as well as like a focus on some of the other characters from season 1 and less of a focus. Like obviously Andrew's missing.
Andrew was missing, yeah. I was surprised by this. Because I hadn't read anything preceding watching the show, so I just assumed. Because, like, if you remember from last season, there was a big old, like, sequel bait at the end of the last episode where Kelly goes back to Andrew, her on and on, off again boyfriend who's a bit like mentally abusive, maybe. Like they just have a very toxic relationship. So the fact that she went back at the end of that last episode of the first season, it was like, ooh, what's going to happen? But then, yeah, he's just not in it.
The cliffhanger moment. The cliffhanger. The very last scene of season 1.
Yeah. Did you feel robbed, Nat?
I did feel robbed. Where was the Red Power Ranger?
We were talking about it. We wanted him, to see him again. Because, like, despite his issues, and he obviously does have some work to do on himself, but he was definitely a more entertaining aspect of season 1. Right, Thavy?
Yeah, you can. I will have to give credit to that because, like I said, the first 4 episodes is just nothing.
We were dying for a Red Ranger.
So we're like, wow, we missed the Red Ranger. We missed like the abuse.
Sure. The drama. The drama.
Yeah. I guess I should choose my words a bit more carefully. But yeah, I did miss the abuse. And
not much happens in the first few episodes. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, like I'm struggling, man. I know Kelly basically gets sidelined this season.
Yeah, she doesn't do much.
I mean, she has a moment with like the vagina coach person. Like later on, but that's like the only thing worthy of note that she does.
So I think the absence of the Red Ranger probably just reduced her screen time significantly, right?
There's a new arc that they set up that kind of continues, or was kind of foreshadowing from the first season. Is the Kevin and Kim relationship.
Was that foreshadowed in the first season? I didn't.
You can kind of get it. Like, they want to set these two up.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I thought when I watched season 1.
Yes, it's correct. It was correct. They did set it up. I think it was the last episode. There was a party, and I think Kevin was angling himself towards Kim in that last episode.
Okay.
Well, there you go. Bling Empire has officially buried itself somewhere into my subconscious where I've gotten this information right.
Yeah, it'll do that.
I actually had like a nightmare about Bling Empire. Like I woke up the day after watching this show, and like I had that kind of restless feeling, and it's like I was just trying to think back on my dream, and I think Bling Empire was in there somewhere. I think like just the noise and like the reoccurring vapid conversations from the show just kept echoing in my mind. If you would want to put like a definition of a show that has zero substance, it's this show. It's season 2 of this show.
Season 2 especially, probably.
Season 2, yeah.
That's a little bit harsh, Thavy. It's like the whole season has no substance.
Yeah, I would say the whole season.
We can try to find some substance in this conversation, I guess.
No.
We'll prove him wrong.
I'm sure we will.
So, but yeah, I think now that I'm thinking back on it, I don't know, I found myself laughing a lot during the first couple of episodes, but like thinking back on it, not that much happens. I think maybe it was just getting to know the characters again and remembering how ridiculous they all are and how just terrible they all are. Kind of.
She's not a new character. But they focus, and I'm going to look up because I don't even remember her name.
Jamie. You're talking about Jamie.
Jamie.
It's in my outline, Thavy.
Oh,
you think of Jamie getting more screen time. Now, this is an interesting choice.
Oh, right. I didn't see that question.
It's an interesting choice for a secondary character. She's a secondary character in the first season, right?
Yeah, she doesn't get very much.
She's like one of the protagonists in this season.
Yeah, she gets a lot more play. What do you guys think of
that? Let's go with that first. What do you think about that?
Was there a particular storyline for Jamie's character? I'm trying to think about what this specific arc was around why she got so much screen time.
I guess she develops a friendship with Anna, and Anna being a central character, that kind of brings Jamie more into the fold.
Yes,
she is also the one that kind of uncovers the scandal of Sherry and Jesse, which we'll get into in a bit, I think. But she does that. She's responsible for that. And also she has a little bit of dating stuff going on, like a tiny bit of that. So there's a couple of things going on with her.
Okay.
I'm going to refer to her like as the character in the show as I've seen her in the show. I obviously don't know any of these people personally. So what I'm judging is what I'm getting from the show. But Jamie is the most boring person I've ever seen in my life.
She is so dull. She's
like you guys were talking before, like what was her arc? What was her she doesn't have one. She's just there to like set up some plot points that don't go anywhere. Like the issue between Kane and that other new girl, which doesn't lead anywhere.
That's true. She does, yeah.
She has like the only thing of worthy of remembering is the date where like she talks too much, which is weird because it's out of character because she does jack shit for the rest of the season except, I don't know, talk about vegan and being bland.
She gets flirted at by Louis Tan. Louis Tan is in this show.
Oh yeah, from Mortal Kombat. Yeah. It's just like
weird.
I feel like the editors were really struggling.
Yeah, I think she's quite indicative on the comparative quality of this season compared to season 1. You can tell they're kind of reaching a bit
they're definitely reaching
storylines, right?
They're definitely reaching.
And the fact that Jamie does get a lot more screen time, that's kind of like a byproduct of them just not really having that much.
It was shallow and superficial, I'd say, like, which is rude for me to say about her personality, but she's really pretty, right? She's the eye candy. But there's not really any more substance around that. Well,
character. I think fashionistas probably would enjoy her more. Like she's got all her little outfits.
I love the outfits; they're awesome.
Yeah, I think that's kind of her thing.
Yeah,
but yeah, she's dull as a bag of rocks, man.
Did you enjoy the outfits, Thavy?
I mean, like, yeah, I'm sure. Like, I'm not a fashionista, so I don't know. I'm sure they were fine, but like, I don't know. I'm more about the soul, Nat, rather than the spectacle.
Like, I like her, though. I think...
I don't think she's a bad person.
Yeah, she's one of the better people. I just think she's
really boring.
Yeah,
and it's just her character. I don't know. I haven't seen any interviews with her. From what I've seen in the show and how they portrayed her, it's just like, I don't know if I could even hold a 2-minute conversation with her. I'd be like, oh, yeah.
Do you think
Codes
you'd be...
Cool, I guess.
Do you think you'd be friends with her in real life, Nat?
I think I know girls like Jamie.
Do you like them?
They are acquaintances, but yeah, don't we all know girls like Jamie? Like, very pretty, not much more to say.
Yeah.
Sure, I'm sure I've met people like that. I don't know if I
like her. No, I think I could be a friend, definitely.
Yeah, she seems well-intentioned, at least. Like, she's definitely one of the nicer people on the show, I think. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know her.
I'll give her that. I don't think she has the personality to be mean or anything like that. Again, this is a character in the show, but, like, she's not the worst character.
She doesn't seem... This is going to sound mean. She doesn't seem smart enough to be manipulative to the point where it's entertaining. You know, she's not a Kane and she's not a Christine level manipulator. You know, and like that brings her entertainment value down quite a bit. Like she's kind of similar to Kevin, but Kevin's got a lot more going on, it seems, than her.
Kevin's still got like somewhat of that narcissistic attitude, but he's, I guess, fairly down to earth. Like, him and Don are probably the best characters in the show in terms of people that I like.
And he's got his story with Kim, which takes pretty much center stage for a lot of this season, right? Is the Kevin and Kim stuff.
Which I mean, if we're talking about worst characters, you've just kind of mentioned them offhand. Kim and Kane, they're just not good people. Like
Christine and Kane, you mean?
No, Kim as well.
Oh, Kim. Okay, yeah, Kim. Sure.
Christine kind of showed her colors in the first season,
Yeah.
And she didn't really change at all. Kim was a brat in the first season, but
Still
you
a
kind
brat.
of empathize with her near the end of the first season a bit. But
Sure.
she's just a bit of a brat throughout season 2.
Yeah.
And Kane becomes a villain.
Do you think he became a villain? I always considered him a villain.
I mean, he kind of showed a little bit of it in season 1, but like season 2 just solidified it almost to the point where I wonder even if his real life version of him is like pretty much the same. But yeah, like what did you think of? I mean, who were the best and worst characters?
Oh, well, I've already talked about Don. He was a superstar, the superstar of the season.
Shit.
Ah, shit.
Shit. Fucking shit.
And there was the scene with the toilet covered in Swarovski crystals.
So random. That was so weird. Like
That was a weird scene thinking about it, wasn't it?
that whole arc. I'm going to call it an arc. Like, I'm generously calling that an arc. that was introduced in one episode and resolved in the same episode. And I guess...
Oh, yeah, the
toilet
thing.
Standing or sitting.
I mean, it had come off the back of a more dramatic moment in the series, and it's just it was a funny arc if you say it is, but like the rising tension of the show had already passed, and it just felt like I was just watching people like meandering around.
That diamond toilet was like the second last episode of the season.
Yeah, it was the second last. Yeah,
and like it's not a great sign for the show overall when you've got this random diamond toilet thing happening in your second to last episode. But yeah, I mean, props to him. He made me laugh.
Yeah, it made us all chuckle, and I think we needed a bit of like laughter throughout the season.
I have a feeling maybe they put some money into the show, and like the showrunners were kind of obliged to put something with them in it.
Was he credited as a producer? Or
I haven't bothered to look any of that up. But the dude's got his net worth is $800 million, so I'm sure he might have kicked some money into it.
So a TV show about Asian representation per se is the white guy is our favorite. The old white guy, the old white billionaire is our favorite character. So you've obviously fucked up.
No. We forgot to mention the really sad what's it called, polygraph technician.
Yes,
who is also white, I think. Right.
There you go. The incel guy.
The lie detector.
Yeah.
Technician.
And that guy was fire.
That scene was really funny.
Because of him. He made that scene.
The part where he's like, Kim's like, oh my God, how do I even answer a question like that? And he goes, truthfully. That's gold. Good on you, man.
That's probably the best moment. Like, I hated the idea because it just seemed such like a forced situation. But then when this, like, basically for our listeners who don't want to watch the show, and I can understand why, but Kim makes Kevin do a lie detector test before agreeing to date each other or something. And then there's this technician who's basically like the World of Warcraft guy from the South Park episode who does the test for them, and he has no soul. He clearly didn't want to be on the show. Boone and I said that he had the sadness.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably like used to questioning murderers and like real criminals, and now he's got these two Asian clowns in front of him. Like, yeah, I mean, but it was good. It's just really refreshing to see like somebody like that, just how they interact with the characters in this show, because they are ridiculous people. Right?
Yeah, they're all ridiculous people.
Yeah, and it's good to see them react to actual humans, or like how humans would react to them.
Do you think that was the technician a paid actor? He wasn't, right?
I've asked this question before, like when in season 1 when they had that PI. Right?
Yes, he was definitely a paid actor. Highly likely, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think PIs look like that in real life, right?
Fuck, I don't even remember what the PI looked like in the first season.
Just looked like
Think about a typical PI in like a comic book, and that was what we saw in Bling Empire season 1.
Yeah, maybe with a bit more spray tan. But yeah, I don't know if I don't know if any of the extras in this show were paid actors, because some of them are pretty like out there. There's that Taoist feng shui guy that goes to Kane's house. Do you remember that guy?
Yes, he was swinging the sword around.
Yeah, that guy was pretty hammy. His sword was black because it absorbs negative energy or something.
I mean, if anyone was a paid actor, that guy was a paid actor.
Sure. Yeah.
It was very over the top.
I'm pretty sure that's not his real accent, right? But if it is, I apologize.
How much money do you have where you start believing that kind of stuff? Like, I feel like there's all these charlatans that like do this random shit to people.
A lot of people believe in feng shui.
Yeah, I know, but like, I don't know, when he was doing the sword shit, I'm like, all right, this is kind of dumb. Like, it doesn't make sense. I don't know. Like, I'm not a feng shui master, but it's just like, yeah, you know, when Kelly had the sex coach over, I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like me and Boone was saying, like, yeah, this chick is just probably thinking, man, I'm making so much money off these people for like just peddling like snake oil.
Yeah, but maybe like that's just people in LA. Maybe that's what they're actually like. Like everybody is, has just created such a strong image for themselves that we just think everybody is an actor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I kept saying throughout the show that these people have too much money,
and they do. You're not wrong.
I think you and I said this, Nat. They go to so many parties and so many events for like nothing that it's just kind of like very numbing. I actually wasn't as outraged watching season 2 as much as just really bored and numb.
You didn't enjoy the party where Kevin crushes the glass on the footpath outside the restaurant?
I did.
He crushed it with his bare hand, Thavy.
Yeah.
With his bare hand.
The Hulk moment.
But that happens way later, like episode 5.
That's a highlight. I do think the parties were pretty lackluster compared to season 1 even. Like, I quite enjoyed their little parties and activities in season 1. Like, even the dates that they organized, I thought were quite creative in season 1. I don't know, like, season 2, it felt like they had 2 parties that involved truffles. And, like, they weren't doing as much Asian stuff as well, I think.
Yeah, they weren't ham-fisting it as much in this season.
What do you think, Nat, about the parties specifically?
Well, on the parties, I think, were a little bit bland, yes. But the Asian, like, force-feeding us their Asian content was something we talked about during the show. Like, I think they visited this traditional Chinese herbalist at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. That guy was super nervous.
And then you have the guy swinging the sword, you know. There's kind of forced Asian culture.
Yeah. I mean, we caught a glimpse of the credits in one of the episodes, Nat, because we kind of like, usually I'm a guy that doesn't skip the credits, but for Bling Empire, like, I'm not interested in who's made the show. But for the sake of the research, if you look at the credits, everyone who is at the head of this show is white. Like, like a lot of people say, like, you know, or
you mean
I guess
the producers or the crew?
The producers.
Okay.
Most of the crew, to be honest, because we're like, yeah, that's a white guy. And it's like, I guess the appeal of this show is to portray Asians, and the marketing is like, yeah, this is a show for Asian people. But it's not really. If, like, white people didn't like Crazy Rich Asians, this show would not have, like, come to fruition, you know? It's not a show that is genuine about it. It's just because rich Asians, like, rich porn featuring Asians is popular. And it's just like, that's like the biggest, like crux of my hatred for this show. I think
Sure.
is just
there is definitely a certain level of like pandering to a certain demographic, right? And it's almost to the point of exploitation, I guess.
But like I see like a lot of the maybe Asian American content creators on YouTube or whoever runs podcasts, they have these people on their show and they're like, yeah, I watched your show and it's good. When it's clearly not good. I know taste is subjective, but this show is not good. Like you're just wrong. I can't like imagine saying that. Like obviously you don't want to be a prick if you're talking to someone on the show, but it's just like it's just objectively not good.
Objectively,
you know?
I don't mind
objectively
it.
Not good. It's not good at all. Like it really puzzles me, Dan, why you like this show.
My partner and I, we laughed a lot during the first 3 episodes. I don't know, it's just so ridiculous. Like the part where we laughed the most was when Paula Abdul arrived. Because, because it was just so random and ridiculous. And like, again, it's that thing of like, they were building up this tension of like, what is happening with Cherie and Jesse, and Kane, like in true Kane fashion, he's like making a huge deal out of it, even though it doesn't really involve him. And he's like, I'm going to confront her, I'm going to do whatever. And then he goes to do it and Paula Abdul walks in and and then as soon as they were like, that's Paula Abdul, like both of us just cracked up because of course, like it would happen in this show. It was such a ridiculous turn of events. And then like, she doesn't even say anything. Like, you get Paula Abdul on your show and you don't let her like use her voice. She's just kind of there.
Well, Cherie and Jesse left the show. Like, they said that they weren't going to be in it, but then when I saw them, I was like, oh, so they are in it. But I think they were half setting up an arc, and then I think they pulled out, and then so it just wasn't resolved.
It's pretty odd, because they still, like, presumably they recorded it beforehand, and then, but the showrunners still put it in, even though they pulled out and it wasn't resolved. So I guess
they
that's
actually pulled out of the show midway. Is that why that didn't
I think
eventuate into anything?
Yeah. Because you and I now, we're just like, what the fuck? Why is it? Because what's the storyline again with Jesse?
So,
he's got another family.
So somebody who knows Cherie and Jesse tells Jamie that Jesse has or when she knew Jesse a while ago, he had a wife. Yeah. And then like they kind of like the friends, Jamie and Kane, do the math and they're like, oh, maybe he's still married to this wife. Maybe Cherie doesn't know about it. And then they do a bit more sleuthing and they're like, okay, no, it's his ex-wife. But like timing wise, maybe Cherie and Jesse were sleeping together before he was divorced. So like that's pretty much the extent of it. Like it's just, rumors about that situation.
I hated Kane during this arc. This was the arc where I'm like, Kane is a bad person.
Yeah.
Because like you guys, we're pretty good friends. We know each other pretty well, sure. But like, you are not gonna know everything about me. Likewise, I'm not gonna know everything about you guys. And that's okay, You don't always have to like be like, oh yeah, like tell me your deepest, darkest like problems or whatever. Like that's just normal. But like Kane was being such a little bitch. Like, oh, I thought we were close friends. Why wouldn't she tell me? Because she didn't think it's important. You don't need to know. Like, you dumb idiot.
So if Dan's second family comes up, Thavy, you're not going to be disappointed that he didn't share that with you?
No, it's fine. It's just like, if you wanted to tell me.
I'll hold you to that, Thavy.
All right, like,
you got it on record now.
It was odd. The frustration from Kane, like, I couldn't understand where it was coming from.
I saw it as an attempt to make drama happen, because my understanding is Kane has a pretty decent hand in the making of this show. Like he's credited as a producer, right? Him and Kelly. I feel like Kane was trying really hard to make stuff happen for entertainment's sake. Like I actually felt kind of bad for him during this season.
Nah.
Why?
just cause I feel like he was the only one trying to like make the show, like trying really hard to make the show entertaining and successful. Yeah. And like he was like pissing off a lot of people in the process of doing this. And then he goes on to be kind of villainized because of this in the eyes of the audience as well.
Sacrifices himself.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think he's a pretty bad person, probably in real life. But like, there's a purpose to it. I think. Like you got to have your pot stirrers and your little fingers, right?
But like, look, he peddles for the whole show how much he cares about his friends. Yeah.
Nah, I mean that's all bullshit.
That's bullshit. But like, let's say if he is honest about that, let's say on the show and in real life, if this show doesn't exist, nothing changes for him. Nothing changes for anyone in the show except maybe Kevin. But nothing changes for him if this show doesn't exist.
Well, they'd have a little less money, I guess, and a little less attention.
Like, look, if he really cared about his friends and he didn't want to stir the pot to ruin his friendship for a show...
A real friend would be supportive, right? A real friend would...
I mean, that's the thing. Yeah. I don't think they're actually that close.
I don't think anyone on this show is that close. Yeah. And so it just adds to the fabricated nature of the show. Like, most of it is definitely scripted. And, like, I think it's, like, maybe 70-30%, because part of it tells me that it's unscripted is just how uninspired the stories were.
Yeah. If anything, I feel like it could have used a bit more scripting this season.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you got here... whether it's better or worse than season 1. I mean, like, if I'm honestly critically evaluating it, or even on the entertainment level, season 1 is better because at least season 1 had Kevin and Kim's arc about trying to find themselves, which kind of makes sense in a show about being an Asian American. So at least there are some thematic tension. There's some drama there. It's interesting, and I'm going to give it that it is interesting. This season just has nothing. Like, it's got Kevin and Kim and other things that I can't even remember.
It's got Louis Tan.
Yeah, it's got Louis Tan and Jamie. It's got that new girl that Kane doesn't like.
Oh, I think that was a bit of a missed opportunity.
Yeah, nothing happens. Yeah. It's just like...
And again, I feel like that might be probably because of Kane, maybe. It's like, I can't have this rival on the show stealing focus. Just get rid of her.
Hey,
yeah, certainly...
That fizzled, didn't it? That went to nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have been good to have a rival for Kane appear on the scene, I think, and, you know, maybe make people choose a side. That would have been all right.
And even, I mean, you're talking about the scene where Kevin smashes the glass. It's because, like, basically Kane told Kim some things about Kevin that she didn't like, and then Kevin's like, oh yeah, like, why'd you tell her that shit? And he gets pissed off.
So he did that for the show as well? To create drama?
I reckon he did that. Yeah.
I mean, maybe. It was probably 50-50. Like, he's a bad friend and also he needs some drama to happen.
This makes a lot of sense now, thinking about the producers and some of the storylines.
Because like you were even saying that, like, when we were like after episode 4, you were like, where's the conflict?
Yes.
And like, you're absolutely right. Like, when you're writing, let's say,
short stories and stuff, right?
Yeah, you need a narrative, but like, all that was happening from my memory of the first, like, I'm repeating myself a bit, but like, all I can remember is just people fawning over materialistic things. And like, I can watch a movie where not a lot happens. In fact, it's what I honestly mostly watch, like minimalistic plots and like, you know, but like if something is shot really well or there's like a meaning behind, you know, what I'm seeing, then I go with it, even if there's not much happening. But like, to elongate that with a show as vacuous as Bling Empire, and then to know that there is nothing to be read into what I'm seeing but people looking at objects and, you know, people wanting to look up to these people because they are famous or rich. It just kind of disgusts me. Like, it's just bad.
Sure, it's not very interesting at the end of the day, is it? That's why the first season had to have plot lines with, like, Kevin trying to find his real parents, or them trying to find Kim's dad, or even Christine, like, with her baby stuff. So, but this one didn't really have any of that. And I think that's probably a huge weakness of this season. But what do you think, Nat? If you were comparing this season with season 1, how do you think it stacks up?
I agree with all that. It's definitely not as strong as season 1. It was pretty dry watching season 2, but it did get a lot better towards the end. I was pretty engaged in the second half of Bling Empire season 2.
At what part do you think it started to get better?
The Kim and Kevin relationship, like, it got invested in that one because that's probably the one that did carry out throughout the whole. How many episodes is this? Like 8 episodes? 6, 8 episodes?
That was, it was basically the spine of the show, really, of the season.
What do you think about Kim and Kevin, Nat?
I found it was, I think I'm rooting for them to get together. I reckon one of the deeper moments in the show, there's not many, but when Kevin was talking about the fact that he's in, like, AA program and that he's been sober. I thought that was probably one of the more real moments of the show.
Do you think Kevin's quote-unquote friend is a paid actor?
The British guy. Maybe.
The guy that's...
He said
the guy that's clearly his sponsor.
It just says Kevin's friend.
I don't know why they didn't just say sponsor. Or maybe it's an AA confidentiality
him as the
thing.
Sponsor.
Yeah, he seemed nice. You see, he was very wise.
He was so wise. His advice was so good.
Yeah, and just a pleasant gentleman.
The other white guy of the show is the nice guy. So all the white guys in in season 2, at least, are like
MVPs. That's the takeaway of this. So you're rooting for Kim and Kevin, even after the completion of this season. You don't think Kim's just a horrible human being?
I don't think so at all. I don't think she's a horrible human. I disagree, Thavy. I know you think very strongly.
Would you say she's immature? Would you say she's an immature person?
She's damaged. She said that she was damaged, right? So she's got trust issues.
Yeah, we did say that.
It's deep.
I don't know.
It goes deeper than, her being evil and malicious.
I don't know about that though. Just give him a text. If you don't want to turn up to your date, just send him a text. It's okay. Like, that was just a really childish thing to do.
Yeah.
The scene in the kitchen when he's chatting to the chef.
Oh, that super supportive chef. Oh man, that guy. I need that guy in my corner.
I'm really sorry, man.
Oh man. I hope he's not a paid actor. I hope he's actually like that in real life. Just another nice bloke. But yeah, Kevin didn't deserve that, right? Like,
nah. I'm sure the crew ate pretty well after filming that.
I was really excited for that scene. It was like, a Master Chef scene. We're going to see some cooking.
Yeah. They didn't use him at all. Like, Kevin could have at least had something to eat,
Yeah.
He probably couldn't pay for the guy. I don't know.
I just like the way Kim handled herself from season 1 when she didn't apologize. And she never really owned up to
she didn't
mistakes.
apologize,
So I'm just like, nah. And that's the same with what Kane does with Kevin. Basically, Kevin is the one that has to, like, compromise his views to, like, remain friends with these people. And then, obviously, obviously having rich friends is beneficial. But also, part of me is like, why would you still want to be friends with these two people?
Yeah.
Like, they're clearly...
I mean, he
stabbing you in the back.
He cares for them, though, I think. Like...
Yeah,
I don't know. I got a bit more respect for Kevin in this season. Just because, I don't know, he seems like he's got a fairly level head on his shoulders. And the fact that he had genuine feelings for Kim was actually really surprising to me. Like, I thought when they first started going out, I'm like, oh, here we go again. He just wants to bang this girl,
Yeah.
But then, when he took the polygraph and he was like, he wasn't lying about having real feelings for her. I was like, oh, yeah, that's cool. It's just, seems like a sweet guy. So I was surprised that Kevin passed his polygraph test. I wasn't surprised that Kim failed her polygraph test.
The whole idea of doing a polygraph test before you start dating is an interesting one.
Interesting or terrible?
Yeah, it's just like the sponsors like, man, that's red flags. And it's
Everybody,
just like,
nobody was into that idea, huh?
Yeah, no. But Anna was saying that as well. And Anna gets a little bit sidelined in this season. She doesn't do very much either.
She does a lot of shutting down Kane's drama in this season. Yeah. In two instances, when he's trying to gossip about Cherie and Jesse, she sits him down and is like, you shouldn't gossip. Stop doing this. And he stops. And then...
I don't think so.
And then there was another part where he was trying to stir the pot again. I forget about what. I think it was like with Christine, when Christine said...
Yeah, it was just Christine.
She heard Anna say shit. And then
again, has an episode.
Anna sits Kane down like a child and is like, you gotta stop this. Stop gossiping. And then he kind of stops again. So, I think
that's kind of what they want to lead on to season 3, right? Is basically to shut down his BS. Most of what happens in the show is sequel baiting, because then at the end of season 3, like there's a whole bunch of shit that's unresolved, and then there's a new element, as you said before.
Well, the toilet thing was resolved. We got an ending for that arc, so that's cool. But yeah, the Red Ranger comes back in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, I was honestly surprised by that. I will have to say that, because me and Nat were saying like, he's obviously not coming back on the show because you portrayed him as being a massive dickhead in season 1. But obviously he's probably like, oh, actually, I need a bit more money now. Can I come back on the show?
I'm sure he got a nice paycheck for making that appeance in the last episode.
Do you think he'll be in season 3?
He might not make an appearance at all.
Yeah,
they just do it again. But I'm surprised if they had him, why didn't they use him for more of the season? Because they had nothing this season. Like they had all these plot threads that didn't really go anywhere, and they were really like struggling for content, it felt like. And they had the Red Ranger in their pocket that whole time. Like, why not bring him back earlier? You know what I mean?
I dare say season 1 was probably a lot more planned out. Like, there must have been writers who were like, okay, so we know this about this person. Let's try to string this plot line through. And that's why you have something that's a lot more cohesive and admittedly with a little bit more substance in season 1.
That makes sense, because there were some, lunches, some scenes. I think there's a scene where Jamie's talking to one of the new characters. I think they meet up for like...
Which one?
Is it Dorothy?
I think so. And they just talk about nothing. I'm watching this scene.
I think that happened more than once. Yeah.
I think Thavy and I looked at each other and said, what are they even talking about?
Yeah, like what? Yeah, I remember that. I had like zoned out on the couch because all I could just hear was just words. Like that's all I heard. And then you said like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
Like they were so inconsequential. I think
that happened a few times.
It was setting up.
But was it
something?
What?
I think it was. I can't remember telling you, but I think it was supposed, because I kind of caught the tail end of the conversation. I couldn't retell it to you now.
I think we both tuned out during some of those scenes.
Because it was like halfway through the series, and like. As I keep saying, nothing was happening.
Those felt like random moments that, maybe if they did a bit more planning and scripting, it would have ended up as a more entertaining outcome for the viewer.
Yeah, because I felt like they kind of just went with it and just like, let's just film them and then cobble it together later. And then I think, whatever... I was like... Was it 1 year or 2 years ago Bling Empire came out? I don't really remember.
2021? You mean season 1?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it's like about a year. To film these kind of docu-style shows takes a while because you basically have to have a crew. Like, this is, how I imagine that they would do it. Like, they'd have to have a crew that follows them to every event that they do. And then someone has to compile all this footage,
Imagine
then
that.
they'd have to you'd have to transcribe it. I'm not sure if they do it, but like the way that I was taught, like you got to transcribe it. Yeah, so basically, there's a sad guy who sits there and writes down everything that a person says in that footage, so the editor can look at it and be like, okay, so I can use this dialogue here, chuck it there, that kind of thing. And it takes a long time to make a story. You can go through like hundreds and hundreds of hours of footage.
Yeah.
It could take years, but like this show was done in a year apparently.
Sure.
And it's like, all right, we got to make do with what we've got. And it's like, how much interesting material can you get out of people who already live in the top 1%? Sure, the characters have their conflicts, they have their, damaged personas, but at the end of the day, what's at risk for them if it's not solved? They're still rich, and they're still going to parties and they're still having fun. So I feel like there's nothing at stake.
Well, they tried the parties.
There's friendships.
Yeah, with the other trash reality TV shows that I watch, like Real Housewives, every character hosts a party, and it's often, a different party. Like it's, what did you say? They use caviar, diamonds and caviar for one of the parties. So each of them hosts...
truffles.
Yeah, each of them hosts a party.
Yeah.
And then there's supposed to be drama that happens at the party. And that's how you create, like, content and drama.
Yeah.
But there was no drama at these parties. There were just parties where nothing really happened.
And that's why I feel like Kane was working overtime a bit. Like, you notice every party, he tried to do something. Like, he doesn't have to confront Cherie at this party, Like, he can wait till there's a quiet moment. Like, even Anna was like, this is not appropriate to talk about at this party. But, like, he wants to do it because that's what they're there for, right? This is kind of their job to create drama at these parties. Like you said, the structure of the trash reality TV show hinges on it. But, it's just a lot of swinging and missing for him on his end.
Yeah.
Which, at least he's trying.
Yeah, I feel like, just a lot of people on the show probably just didn't really want to do it or want to, like why should they? Like, why should they have to?
It didn't feel like they were all in, some of the characters.
Yeah.
And maybe that's because they're, like you said, Thavy, they're rich enough,
Yeah,
like they don't need the bad press. Certainly Sherry and Jesse didn't need the bad press anymore.
Yeah.
They were just like, peace out. This is not worth endangering my family's mental health or whatever.
Yeah. I'd have to actually respect them for that. I think they kind of realized, like,
yeah.
show, like,
Jesse seemed like the only sensible person in season 1, so...
Yeah, actually, I'd probably agree with that, just thinking. He doesn't really do very much. And he's just kind of, you don't really see him very much at all. And then now it's just like, they got a family.
Yeah. I thought it would continue into season 3 because nothing was said after a certain point about the Cherie Jesse second family drama. I just assumed it would be a season 3 resolution. That's me wishful thinking, naive thinking.
Yeah. I wouldn't hold your breath on that. Seems like they don't want to be a part of the show. According to Kim Lee, they've unfollowed everybody. Or Cherie has unfollowed everybody.
Yeah, good for them. Yeah. I feel like they watched season 1 and they're like,
you want to hear what Kane said about it? He said, I actually texted her, Kane reveals. I think there was a tabloid that wanted to know info. I'm like, look, I'm just going to direct you directly to her instead of me speaking on her behalf. And I told her, like, look, I never want to interfere with family issues and I have so much respect for her kids. And so I think she was grateful for that. Although she didn't reply, I think she was grateful for that. So
they're such close
He's a
friends,
bit delusional, isn't he, Kane?
So, theories for season 3. So what was left on the table?
Red Ranger comes back. Are Kim and Kevin really over?
I think
Was
so.
it Christine, baby storyline? She goes in to check out her embryos.
Yeah, she might have another kid on the way.
Yeah.
Sure.
Christine and Anna are going to go confront Kane.
Oh yeah, they're forming an alliance. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I'm into that. Yeah, I don't know. I hope they get something because this wasn't very good this season.
Yeah, it really wasn't.
I think there will be more promotional content for Jamie. Yeah, the whole season felt like a big advertisement for Jamie and her fashion stuff.
Do you reckon they're going to pursue a Kevin and Jamie romance?
So that's what my partner said.
Yeah,
they might try that angle.
Yeah, because like with the Lewis Tan part, it's
maybe they'll form a love triangle with Lewis Tan.
I think Lewis Tan will be too busy.
Yeah, with Mortal Kombat movies. What do you want to see happen in season 3, Nat?
I like to see more Don.
More Don.
Maybe he'll get another toilet, a different kind of toilet.
Don's Toilet Empire. I liked his dry humor and the more of Don for season 3 for me.
More white people. Yeah,
I would like to see Kane go from villain to hero, if possible. I want to see everybody turn against him, and then he does some self-reflection, and then he tries to do some good in the world.
Self-improvement.
Yes, self-improvement is always fun to watch.
I'm just looking forward to eating pho again and eating snacks and drinking for season 3. So I'm not excited for the show.
But you're excited for the viewing experience, Thavy.
I did enjoy the hangout, to be fair. I really didn't want to watch this show alone.
Hey, mad respect, Thavy, for you sitting through hours of something that you found terrible, right? Doing it for the podcast, for the sake of the podcast.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, you watched the sadness, Nat, and that, I mean, was equally difficult to watch probably for Thavy. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was on in the background. The sadness was on in the background. It was a little bit too gruesome for me to engage in.
Yeah, no, I still remember when I told you we were going to watch The Sadness at your place. I said, it's this pretty like gnarly zombie movie that's supposed to be super violent. And you were like, oh yeah, cool, all right.
You did not manage expectations, Thavy. There was.
I think the movie even surprised Thavy with its content. To be honest, I don't think even you were prepared for that movie.
I would look up from time to time, and there would be this disgusting scene on TV.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Like that would have given me night sweats and nightmares if I had watched the whole movie.
So we're all making sacrifices. But honestly, like I don't mind Bling Empire. I know you hate it, Thavy, but I enjoyed some of it. I enjoyed season 1 a lot more than I enjoyed season 2. But I can see why people like this kind of show.
I'm too blind. I don't see. I mean, I kind of get how people can. I get how people can enjoy it, but I don't see how people can say it's good.
Who's saying it's good? I'm not hearing anyone say it's quality content.
I've just seen people review the show online.
90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
And people saying that it's good, and it's just like, I don't understand it, like, because it's just not good. Like that's as simple as the definition I could give to anyone about my opinions on the show. It's not good. I'd rather people watch The Sadness. You get more out of that than this show.
Yeah.
But that's we're kind of aching into other territory.
In conclusion, don't trust Rotten Tomatoes reviews though. Very misleading.
They are. But yeah, pretty stoked for season 3 anyway. Anything else from you, Nat? Do you have any closing thoughts about this show?
No, I will see you next time for season 3.
Yeah.
Yay.
I hope I'm invited again.
Yeah. I mean, you're always going to be on the Bling Empire episodes, Nat, so you don't need to worry about that. It would just be like me being sad through the whole episode.
He'll be like that polygraph guy.
Yeah.
Soulless husk of a human being.
Oh, dude.
I think I'm going to rewatch that
MVP.
scene, actually.
It's really good. That was definitely a highlight of this season.
Yeah, I'd say that's a highlight too, but probably for the reasons that it's not intended to be.
I also felt bad for Kevin. I feel for him.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, what did you guys think of season 2 of Bling Empire? Do you think it stacked up to the first season, or did you find it disappointing? What would you like to see happen for season 3? Let us know. You can get in touch with us at 2asianblokes@gmail.com. You can join us on our Facebook group to be part of the conversation, or you can follow us on Instagram at 2asianblokes to see what we're up to. Thank you to Nat for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
See you, everyone.
All right, guys. Yeah, until next time. See you later. Bye-bye.